Well, hold on, guys. Let me go back up here. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm finally here. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you're having a great day filled with love and joy. And I'm just so happy to be here with you. You know, Valentine's is one of my favorite holidays because it's all about the love. So maybe it'll remind us to not only be loving to ourselves, but to other people as well. So let me tell you a little couple announcements. We're going to jump into our guest today, and we're going to be talking about the Essenes. But before then, just want to tell you to please subscribe to my Academy of Divine Wisdom, and you will receive a Christ-like meditation. Now, this light is the same light that I used that I actually went into my NDA and got really high on that. Also, if you want a spiritual starseed session, you can look at my services on academyofdivinewisdom.com, where I do light code activations, earth mission channeling, angelic transmissions, galactic starseed channeling, earth mission, several things. And if you want a evidential medium or Akashic life path session, I do a lot of these and they're very in-depth. And if you want some starseed merchandise, go to my merchandise store. That would be seekingheavenchannelstore.com. And finally, if you haven't subscribe to my channel. So that would be great at Seeking Heaven Channel. All right. Thanks for going through that with me with my announcements. I want to go ahead and present to you our guest today and my friend. He does so many things. I mean, y'all, if you haven't checked out his website, you have got to go to portal to ascension.com and also to Portal to Ascension YouTube. I mean, this man is like he has so many fingers and so many pies. He's doing so much for this ascension. So let me bring in my friend Neil Gaur.
Hey,
Neil.
Tamara. Yes. Hello. Good to be here with you. Hello, everybody.
Yes, I mean, I'm just amazed at the work that you're doing, and I want to make sure that I put that. Is it Portal to Ascension dot org or .com? It's com,
It's
right?
.org, but the
Cool.
.com, we got the .com too now, so that's going to forward to the new website
Oh,
pretty soon. But
thank
.org.
goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what I want to do is to go ahead and put that in there so at the bottom so people can have that. And I want them to register for this conference coming up as well for the Essenes, which we're going to be talking about. Why don't you tell them a little bit about this conference, the Essenes, and how you were inspired to put this together,
Yes.
and then we're going to have a chat about it. While you're telling everyone, I'm going to enter where they can register for this.
Yeah. To be honest, like the words really can't even fully express what is going to be happening with this event. You might have heard me before if you've heard anything I've said about events. About our events aren't just conferences, gatherings. They're like milestones in evolution. Well, they're calling in to certain areas, paying reverence to certain ancestry lineages, paying reverence to certain beings. Whether we do a 4-day summit on the star beings, whether we do an all-day conference on Arcturians, these are the types of things that have never been done before. And we're literally creating connections, paying homage to our ancestry on and off planet. And now it's the same thing with this conference here, but the energy of this conference is probably the amount of excitement in it is creating an emotional response within my body. The reason why I created the Essenes in the first place, this conference, is because I've seen many times at different events, workshops, documentaries, things are mentioned briefly, right? Which is side note, whole other conversation, which is why I did a whole presentation on Pythagoras, for example, is that I hear people speaking 5 minutes on Pythagoras 432, Pythagoras this. So I went ahead and did a 4-hour presentation on Pythagoras, right? Just to go deeper into it. So that's the opportunity that we've had at Portal to Ascension, is to do that. And then as soon as I became conscious that I was doing that, I was doing that unconsciously. 2 years ago, I became conscious of it. And now it's become even more fine-tuned. And now we see the Essenes conference. I've heard people speak about it. We have different presentations on Portal to Ascension on it. But can we do a whole entire conference where we provide multiple different perspectives? And the reason why it's called the Essenes in Ancient Judea, I didn't even know why I even created it like that until maybe 5-6 months ago, up to a little longer than that even, is because we have the Essenes. We have this mystical order that existed, right, for hundreds of years before Yeshua, and that were there waiting for the arrival of Yeshua. They were tapped into mysticism. They were tapped into the consciousness of what it means to be in this reality and the nature of reality. They had a very ritualistic lifestyle. You can read their rituals in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which um, little spoiler alert, but not too much of a spoiler, more of a promotional alert, I guess.
Right.
Mariana, who is going to be my last minute co-host that I brought on, was one of the people who translated the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay,
Are
so
you kidding?
she's going to be the
Oh man, you get the best people.
super tapped in to the Essenes, super tapped in. So like as soon as she emailed me back for my email while I promoted this conference, and she was like, "Well, I did this. I just emailed her back. Do you want to co-host? Do you want 20 minutes?" So she's going to be contributing to this as well. So they had this really ritualistic lifestyle coming off the order of Moses, and the connection to the Essenes. They have incarnated many times, right? During this time, when the Essenes came in, there were three. I've been doing deep dives on the Essenes lately, just like you have,
Me
Tamara.
too.
So, there were three orders
Me and you
of
too, brother. I tell you what.
Jewish culture at that time. Two of them did not believe in mysticism. They were nuts and bolts, linear religious ritualists. There was one order that was about the mysticism. When I say mysticism, I mean magic. I mean the science of consciousness. Which is basically magic is a science that has not been understood yet. Vibration, how the nature of reality. They're the only ones, which is why there was no like Yeshua is in the scene. We haven't ever seen that like phrase. But the reason why people believe he was in the scene was because of his connection to mysticism and magic, and which is why a lot of Jewish people did not follow him because they were nuts and bolts. They were like linear people that are, someone that goes to church nowadays. But if Jesus came back and said Jesus is on the planet, probably wouldn't ever even start to fathom how they even can believe that can happen, even though they're following a religion based on the fact that that did happen. You know what I'm saying? So, so these beings were very important in laying the foundation for the mysticism of Christianity that was then controlled and eliminated in so many levels.
Man.
So we're going to be speaking about them because, there's many religions in the world, but there's definitely three Abrahamic religions that literally took over most of the world. So let's do a deep dive on that. And now just the ancient Judea part, I like created this event, as I said, and then I started, a war took place in Judea. And when we think about the history, I don't want to give too much away because I'm going to be dropping golden nuggets throughout the emceeing about this.
Absolutely, yes. But this is helpful.
Exactly. So I'll say that there is a karmic connection to how this originally began. And these people that are at war, and this isn't just like some like new age claim. This is literally ancestral bloodlines that we can track back to genetics even. This is a war from the times of Moses, from the foundation of the Essenes up until this moment. And there is a karmic cleansing happening, and the war has not been settled, right? So what we're doing here, we do Palladian conference, Arcturian conference, reverence. We're doing an event for the Essenes and the ancient Judea to also bring harmony into this and help, in whichever way we're able to, because I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what we're doing this for, like I just know that we're called to do it.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Right. We're going to be bringing peace in the ways that we can to really learn the lessons we need to learn so that we can create harmony for everyone on the planet.
That sounds so good. I tell you, it's interesting because you're saying a deep dive and you're chuckling. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I think it's important to tell your sources. Like even when in readings, I go, "This is me. These are my thoughts. This is your grandmother. This is Einstein. This is whoever. This is And I think it's important. I've been looking right now. I think I mentioned earlier, but 5 different books. It's hard to find, and I want to mention this. When you look at the Essenes, you can find the sanitized versions that you may find something, but not esoteric. And the more esoteric ones that I found to be more authentic was, and I have it here, and I don't know which ones you're reading, but I'll tell you, I'm pretty impressed. So I'll tell you my most impressed. I've got my bookmarkers in it. I have read 5 books within 2 weeks. Okay. Wow. So this one is the Jesus and the Essenes, which, and I'll tell you why I like these, and because these are good for people that, people are always asking me, what should you read? What should you not read? And then this is also another Dolores Cannon book, They Walk with Jesus. And that's just more information she got in session just on that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I love Edgar Casey. I do. I was reading him at 12 years old. This is Edgar Casey on the Essenes Mysteries. These books, by the way, you can't get them in Kindle, which I prefer. I have like 9 editions of Kindle because it's just easy to read at night. And so, but this, if anyone's ever read Edgar Casey, he kind of reads like Yoda. It's like it's it's very awkward. It's not even old English. It's just very awkward. But I do think that there's some validity there, but they do it through reference. It's more like reference note, this date, this. They have little numbers they use for things that they categorize, like in the library. I like how Dolores Cannon did it because she did it per her session, but she would explain things in between. And so it wasn't too generic. She would put her thoughts and say, well, as the person said this, I was thinking this, I'm feeling it was this. So she would add her 2 cents in between, but it was written more like a play, like Beth and then Ryan. And so it's like D for Dolores and then S for Sudi, who she was channeling. This woman was channeling through. Basically, it was channeling because she was in a trance. But I look at the ones, the Anna and the grandmother and all that, and I have a problem with those. I don't think they're channeled. And I'll tell you why, because I'm a channeler and I know the different states. It's because when you're in a deep trance, you have to have someone help you come out of that trance. And during that trance, you literally are that person. Like, you're not your person. You're that other person. And the deeper the trance you go, the more you can take on the characteristics. For example, I remember being a guy in the 1890s and I had a pregnant wife and I had those lamb chops things in the beard and everything I wore, I just thought, oh my God, why do I keep wearing plaid? This is so ugly. It's like big plaid. And she was pregnant and she was going to be giving birth. And I was so indifferent. I was like, okay, well, it'll all work out. There's people to help. Like, I was like, you just go do that. Let me know when it's done. And then I would see, my wife wanted me to go baby store shopping, which I thought was interesting because we go on this cobblestone and these little tiny, and I was like, oh, how's that? I'm like, yeah, that's good too. Okay, that's fine. I was so bored. Then I remember starting the car and I would lift it up and I would crank it up. And that's how I started the car. And I remember standing on a ledge doing that. And I had these shoes that buckled over to the side. So when you're in that moment of trance, you are that person. You have feelings like, God, I love that horse, or like, why am I here? I hate this. I hate shopping. And so the thing about the Anna and the grandmother is she would be talking like now and then be talking about the past and talking about now and talking about like immediate. It's impossible if you're truly in a trance. You are that. You cannot snap out of into present time that quick. It's actually very hard to do. And so, and the way it speaks is not really from a first person where you feel deep emotion, whereas I felt the others had very deep emotion. What I liked about it too, and this particular one is this one here, there's evidence. There's actual evidential architectural thing. For example, which this won't be included in my presentation of what I'm doing, but I don't believe it will be. I don't think it will be. But Sodom and Gomorrah, which we all have heard about. I actually saw a documentary a few months ago on it where they took it's a tiny submarine. It was like individually funded with a couple people. And they went as close as they could to the Palestine border where all that was going on. And they literally saw way deep below debris of full buildings and everything. And so during this channeled session, they said it was an explosion. Well, they come to find out is that they called it the Dead Sea, but asphalt, the salt, there's petroleum in there. So there's petroleum and gas. That would cause an explosion. So I'm thinking, this is history coming alive. But the saddest part, I feel, Neil, is we're still fighting the same things. We're trying to fight for knowledge and for true wisdom and to help humanity go forward. And then most of the Essene, the sacred scrolls they had and all the things they did to keep that intact, the Romans came in and destroyed it all. And so, the only way, how could the information survive? My gut on that is whoever lived told the next person, told the next person. And because it's in their DNA with the bloodline, the memory is there. And I think that's how, because they came in and they wiped it out and they created the dialogue and the narrative that's still going on now.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's,
No,
it's hurtful to read that, like these people spent eons, their lives. And then it's because people are fearful of truth. And is that still not going on?
yeah, and and then we understand that on the biggest level that it was meant to be wiped out, right? But then you've also had lives as these beings, and it's you, a lot of people. My friend Eugenia, who's going to be on the conference, she was here staying with me for the last 10 days in Mexico, and so we had a lot of talks about Essenes. We actually dedicated the whole 10 days to Yeshua and Yassine documentaries almost, right? So, and I'm realizing a lot of the people that have had these experiences were Essenes, where they have this deeper feeling of kind of like something was taken from them or something was lost, and now it's the replenishing and the restructuring of that reality. And what I felt, what it came in during a conversation literally a week ago with her, was that everybody that's coming to this event wasn't a scene or was some sort of connection to. And
You're right. You're
she's so
absolutely right.
she's so powerful that like she's gonna go into her experiences and stuff. She does transmissions from these scenes, but like she was like really like one of the scene women that were just taking forward this information and like teaching so many. Really was super I don't want to go into hierarchy, but just like a person that was really like just behind this information, getting it out to the world. And when I was having this conversation with her, I was like, wow, like I have this awareness that you are literally in this life, your next chapter is going to be calling back the Essenes that incarnated with you in this life and creating another organization, another movement that will change into another title. And she will tell you a little bit about how the Cathars were most likely a reincarnation of the Essenes, and how the Essene group incarnates together at different times for different awakening processes. And it came to me like, and I truly feel it in my heart that we're calling in Essenes and Essenes affiliated people to this event. And a lot of the people watching this right now, a lot of people are going to be showing up is that. And I feel we're activating a soul group from this. It's
Oh my
like,
gosh.
it's
I'm getting
like,
the chills.
it's
I'm
like a town
feeling,
hall meeting.
yes, yes,
Yeah, it's
yes,
like a
yes.
town hall meeting, one of the initial ones in this, like a past life incarnation coming together. So that's the energy we're going to bring as the MC, the host of this event. That's what I'm bringing. So we're going to create a beautiful tapestry of the individuals there. And the amount of experiences, oh my God, like it truly runs the gamut of what you can learn from information, from presentations, from dates and timelines, of how long they were there, to transmissions, meditations, to also another impromptu person who I met in Mexico City just 2 months ago, who does this whole presentation on the healing powers of the Essenes. And she has all this information on what kind of abilities they had. And she's going to
Right.
be speaking about that for a little bit and then actually doing a meditation for us to tap into that. So it's just going to be a very powerful event, and I'm extremely excited.
I mean, I love how you speak your truth and speak from your heart, because when you were talking about, hey, what we're discovering is that these people are the Essenes, and I was getting the chills. Usually, when I get a yes, I start vibrating all the way to my crown chakra, and I start like, ugh, and I was getting that, so I'm feeling that as a big yes, and I feel like that the fact that I have such deep emotion about this, like I have been kind of cleansing and purging and crying, okay, reading through this, and I'm going, and then I'm thinking that's just all the work the Essenes did before even Christ showed up on the scene, and he was their teaching. He learned from them, and they blocked that out. And the narrative has been, well, of course, the narrative on a lot of things has been controlled, and I think that so many people are waking up. And I had such a sign on that. I was a bit frustrated the other day, and it was something on Instagram, and it was a fella in the jungles of Africa. Like he hardly had any clothes on. Like he was in the jungle, and he was talking all about the ascension, and people are waking up. I'm going, if it can go to the jungle to this guy who's talking wisdom, I think people know. And the thing about technology and AI, it can be a friend or it can be against us. But the fact is, like with this guy, it reached him, and I'm thinking, okay, good, because he's speaking truth, and of course, we're all incarnated now to wake up and to help others that aren't. But I see it as a continuation, Neil, of what they did, and I didn't realize how powerful all the things that they did that we're doing now, especially the mystery schools. What I feel is they took the Atlantean knowledge and then from Egypt, and it ended up with so many of those people, it's the same tribe, same
Yeah.
tribe being reincarnated, that are the Essenes that are trying to bring this knowledge, and how they even infuse their energy in crystals and work with protection and healing and things that we could be doing now, that we know that frequency and sound is key to really manifestation into the physical. So
Mhm.
they were doing all those things, and their philosophy of love and sharing, and they shared. I mean, they didn't really have money. They shared amongst one another, and they did not want. They had they had food. They planned it all out, and even their the way it was laid out, and their irrigation system blew me away.
Mhm.
How they were efficient and much more advanced, but the message that Jesus was saying was the same thing they were saying.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was just the one that kind of was the superstar that came out in front of everybody, and but they were saying this all along, but they didn't say it really publicly. They remained hidden. So this is part of our history. I think that what you said, that it's really key, is not just something in the past. This information is what we're really trying to expose right now, that we all have available to enhance our lives, and also to remember and to love each other. And what a better day than Valentine's?
Mm, yeah, and Jesus, as you mentioned about Atlantis and Egypt, and most people know that there was lost years of Jesus's life, right? And we have traces of him all over, and there's actual documents in India that, so it's not even a maybe of India. Like there's actually, I forget the name of the scripture, and they called him Sananda, I believe, which is also his star name, I believe. And
Mhm.
so it's like documented that this guy actually came, right? And then we have Egypt and the mystery schools of Egypt. And it seems that the Essenes had already kind of laid the groundwork and already been pulling information from all these mystery schools around the world. So I feel that when Yeshua came on the planet into an Essene family, they already had it laid out of where to go in order to get these downloads. And him,
Yeah.
along with the Essenes, went all over the world and started just, learning and educating him in the ways of the Essene information that they've been receiving for so long. And now really is the time, like you said, now is the time for this awareness to come back on the planet. But it's not just the awareness, it's also the healing of the trauma of that, right? So many
Mm.
things and distortions
Yeah.
occurred around that. So when we're calling in this energy, we're really calling in the healing of the ancestral lineages, and also um, the casting out of advanced awareness that could have resulted in the liberation of humanity. Because one, there was a fear, all right, about that, because they wanted to exert control, right? And
Mhm.
then two, we're also at a time within the Yuga cycles that wasn't really where it's supposed to be. We were in the age of the Guru at that point. We're deeply involved in the age of the Guru. So what happens is Yeshua comes around. He is given this information that the commoner around the world wasn't able to receive, because they had to just like provide, live, and do, right? And then he was the one that went out and said, hey, this is the
Mhm.
information of the collective world. He went around the world for years getting this information and then shared it to everyone. So now this awareness is coming in a different way. We're not coming for with the guru. We're coming for all of these individual people
Mhm.
now have the ability to go within themselves and release that awareness and release that information. So it's going to be beautiful. Like this is going to be an event where we get to share the ancient past, right, and bring that into the future, so we can make an enlightened future for all of us.
Oh, yeah, it's powerful. I didn't realize till I really took that deep dive and really looking at it. And it's funny, you all could, it's a hint, if you've had a reincarnation if all, in a life, either
Hmm.
you're really drawn to it, right? Really have to know about it,
Yeah.
or you can't barely look at it, which means,
Uh-huh.
oh, what happened? Like, I don't know if I want to look at that. Then what happened there? And
Mhm.
so, even with the whatever the incident is, it doesn't mean there's still not that life was important. But with this, I felt I have to tell you, a lot of times I would trance out reading, and I was like, that was a key. I knew.
Interesting.
I was like, oh gosh, yeah, and I don't do that. You know what I mean? I just read like people do, you know.
Right, right.
But I would trance out, and not sleeping. I would trance out, and I would go back, and I would trance out, and I would be transported, and I would trance out. I did that
Mm-hmm.
when I was reading Edgar Casey years ago, The Last Supper.
Mm-hmm.
And I started trancing out doing that, and I started seeing it 3D. I was like, what is going on? But I did that quite a few times, going over this and getting emotional, which usually don't get emotional reading. You know, I got emotional in a personal
Yeah.
sense. Like I got upset about certain sections. I got upset about how the Essenes were misunderstood, and how the sacred information, that people didn't see it as
Yeah.
sacred. And honestly, to this day, I kind of still feel that same way about things. Like, it's sacred. You should look at things sacred. Um, and the same thing is holding it as important. I still feel that way.
Yeah.
So it's a trigger from an
Interesting.
earlier time. And I do feel like these people come in tribes. I mean, don't you feel that they're also connected to the early star beings and Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, this
Yeah.
same tribe? And then here we are again. It's like this is a
Right, right,
huge
right.
spiritual thing. And even one of the things that's very fascinating, I want you to answer this, is that
Okay.
they talked about the watchers being here, and said, oh yeah, we knew about the book, yeah, that's, predates all that, we knew. And said, but the watchers, they look at them as angels, right? The watchers, if you angelic, they describe light beings or what have you. And
Mm-hmm.
they said, yeah, they can only get involved with so much. They try to help. But they were very aware, and they actually knew all the star systems and all that was involved. They knew about other planets. I mean, they were eons ahead of their time. And so, hopefully we can all bring this to life and let people see that this is not in the past, this is a part of who we are, and that we're our collective consciousness, that we need to honor that and bring it forward and do any kind of healing, that needs to happen from that. Because, um, something can you imagine, like a dove, something so sacred, or a beautiful white dove, and then someone killing it? So it's like information is like that, or knowledge, or destroying it. And of course, it's the lack of understanding, but it's also, I really think, Neil, it's back to fear.
Mm-hmm.
People, what they fear, they destroy or cover up or hide. And the most powerful thing in the universe is love. And love can shine brighter and expose just about anything. So, to me, it's been a personal growth,
Yeah.
hearing this information and seeing it. And I think it's going to be that way for people signing up when they register. So let me put that down back here so they can register. But I think it's going to be the same thing. I think it's going to stir them on a personal level.
Yeah.
If they're right.
100%. The energy that I've been feeling like towards this event, I get excited about a lot of events, but the level of excitement from this one is just like kind of is an emotional excitement as well. I'm so like happy and joyous that I'm going to get to learn so much more about these beings, like, and these people, and even things that go back even further. Because we're not, I don't even know what everybody's presentation is going to be. I just know that we're running the gamut of types of information, and experiences, and meditations and transmissions from these beings. So as I did, like, one of the reasons why I created this conference, like I do for many events, is I want to learn more, right? So I went around and I looked for the people that could honestly give us the most insightful esoteric awareness when it comes to them. And that's what we have here. We have a collection of people that are really going to be providing a lot of information, experiences for us. So not only that can we learn about these people, but we can really take it to a whole other level and internalize it. As I said, a lot of people coming to this event had incarnations as Essenes. This could be the spark for you to have that remembrance, right?
I agree.
A lot of you, I've had some emails, have had experiences as Essenes, and that's why you're coming to the event. That's, you literally email me that, right? And
Hmm.
you come to the event, there's parts and pieces of this that you probably don't even know, because right now, not everybody has full recollection of every day of their incarnations, past lives, right? Maybe one day we'll get there. And so just coming to this experience, having this, is going to create sparks. And that's why I'm just going to be, I've already dedicated, there's no distractions for me that day. You know,
Mhm.
I'm seeing, I'm present, I'm going to listen, I'm going to receive. Okay. And
Mm.
I'm going to shift into my heart, and the process of shifting into my heart has already begun, just so that we could be at a place of the Sacred Heart, right, which is the Yeshua symbol of the Sacred Heart for what we're going to receive on that day. So, you know, if you're
Beautiful.
interested in this, want to be a part of it, or just experience what we're going to be creating, the link I believe is in the description. I also posted it in the comments. So come join
Mm.
us. It's going to be profound. Is not even the beginning of explaining what it's going to be. You know, if you've been to any Portal to Ascension events, you know they're like some of the most fun things ever. Anyway, right?
Mhm. It's
And with
true.
this awareness, with the people coming together, and the way it's being emceed, with my co-host being one of the translators of the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's,
Unreal.
yeah, it's next level.
Oh man, I am so excited. See, when I participate as a speaker, I want to hear everybody what they have to say. And what's interesting, and you know a lot more about this than I do, but my observation is when so excited when you asked me to speak, because and it's also like, yeah, and then I'm excited, and then I go, oh, I got a really deep dive. Oh boy, where's this going
Mhm.
to go? And so, but when, like, for example, the Ultimate Starving, just the most recent one, I was shocked how it was it was all harmonious. Everything was just blended, and everybody got a different aspect, and you think, oh, they're going to talk about the same stuff. No, everyone had different aspects
Yeah.
of their communication. And I thought that was beautiful. And I've seen that with other things too, even with Atlantis, and
Hmm.
is with the astral travel one. It's just is synchronistic. So there's something spiritual happening, right?
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to see all the speakers, their perspective on it, and the common thread. And I think that what really hits my heart, and I don't know if you're going to have this in the beginning or the end or whatever, but I think it's a great idea for you to do the healing and talk, the Sacred Heart and the healing, and acknowledge those of you who feel drawn to this. That's okay. Just blend with that, be with that, give that time the love, and also let it know it lives in you now, and there's life in you, and heal that. And I think a little healing thing would be to let people know it's okay. A lot of times people just want to know it's okay. It happened. We're here now. Let's finish this. And
Mm.
so I think that would be beautiful. And I just thank you for putting this together. It's going to
Mhm.
be awesome. I guess I should mention really quick. Uh, just really quick. What I'm going to that's me. That's what I'm gonna be
Yeah, tell us.
speaking on. Yeah, and I changed a little bit. I still have the purity and the rituals and the so forth, and how they got there. But I want people to know that I don't think it's controversial at all, but that really that Jesus learned a lot of his information from the Essenes. I mean, that wasn't his only teachers, but that it was a big part of his teachings, and so much of the things that we use now came from that and not him, and he carried that through. And I think that people have the right to know that. I've always been the one what in the middle, that I can reach um, the general public, not the esoteric, and I can because we got to bring everybody in. You know what I mean? We got to bring everybody into the fold. And so I've been the one hit the general public, or the traditional Jewish person, or the traditional Christian person, the traditional whatever, and usually bringing them into the fold. And I'm hoping that this will help do this in a way that's okay. And it just allows them to think for themselves and to look more into this. And I'm sure everybody's going to be adding their own perspective to this. But so much of what we're doing now came from the Essenes.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for being here today, Neil, and
Thank you.
everybody sign up. So let me put the conference again one more time. Sign up for the Essenes in Ancient Judea. You can register at portaltoascension.org. It's going to be phenomenal. These events are fantastic. I mean, they're always priced very reasonably, and you get the replays. You get to see it again and again. And if you can't be there Saturday, you can definitely see it on your own time when you want to, because it's a long day, right? It's a 7-hour day, correct?
Yep. 7 hours a day. Yeah.
How do you do it, Neil?
I honestly don't have an answer for that. It's just like one of
and
all the.
and go to what is it? Portal as at YouTube at Portal to Ascension.
Yeah, exactly.
Go there, and you can see lots of great speakers, as well as portaltoascension.org. And now you said you have .com too. So many interesting things, and this is one of them. So don't miss it. Thank you for your time, Neil, and see
Thanks,
everybody
Tamara.
this Saturday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay.